If you believe for 1 minute that you are not absolutely accountable for your life as this, you're in for a huge shock. Stop talking. Stop talking. Everything you just said is a lie. No, you can't blame the other person for the way you live your own life. Listen to what you're saying. You're making excuses for someone's self-abuse. That problem's not out there somewhere. It's looking at you in the mirror. People, when will we learn? Enough is enough. Okay, welcome to another week of Talk is Cheap. Hello, Melissa.
Hello, Jason.
So I am going to introduce this show a little differently. Okay, so we'll just stop for a second. We'll rewind. It'll be, welcome to another week of Talk is Cheap, Avatar Edition. Okay, because, Avatar, it's kind of a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
I mean, to the tune of $2 billion plus worldwide, when all's said and done, I think that counts as something.
Especially to James Cameron.
Yes.
That counts as 2 million something.
2
or
billion,
2 billion,
yes.
I mean. Yeah.
So I think that because, clearly, based on results and the numbers, this movie resonates with people such that they see it more than once.
Mm-hmm. How many times have you seen it?
I have seen it twice.
Okay.
And you have seen it?
1 2/3.
1 2/3?
Yes.
Okay. Were you distracted for the last third for some, ferocious making out party?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. The fifth of Jack.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have seen it now completely through.
Yeah.
I have seen it completely through. I am, based on the box office numbers, I'm going to say that the majority of people in our audience have seen it. And so now it's time for us to have a real conversation about Avatar.
Yes.
Okay? Because no matter what you think, feel, say, believe, be about Avatar, it is clearly resonating with people.
And I'll be honest, from the beginning, when I saw the first few previews, I was like, no, I'm not interested.
Oh, I'm so with you on that.
And I was like, this is lame. Okay, what are these weird-looking blue people? They're expecting to sell a movie like this? Because I didn't feel like the first previews didn't really do it any justice and really didn't tell the story. It was just like blue people flying everywhere.
I know. I had discounted this movie 100% because I don't love sci-fi or fantasy really that much. And this was like a huge dose, according to the trailer, of that.
Yeah.
And what I liked about the movie was that the underlying themes and message of it kind of transcended the storytelling, like the mechanism of that it takes place on this in the future and it's on this mythical island. Somehow James Cameron was able to balance a fantasy film with a sci-fi film by having it in the future, but on a planet that's really in a whole different consciousness and awareness than we are. So now I know that, we watched it together, you and I know that this movie resonated with you.
Yes.
Okay, and I know that however it resonated with you, I'm sure that a good portion of our audience can identify with that. So what was it about Avatar that resonated with you?
For me, it was many things. It was the connection with their planet, their connection with their animals and plants. It was incredible, and it was so written so beautifully that it felt so real. And it felt, one of the most amazing things was the I see you, the acknowledgement of each other.
So what was that for you? Like, what did you get that James Cameron was wanting to get across there?
I see who you really are, which is, of course, at least my feeling is we are all divinity. So it wasn't just like a greeting and like, hey, what's up, It was really making that connection, and I see you. I see you for who you truly are and what you're really, truly here to do.
Well, and I loved that because this movie was based around the idea that this person, this character, this Avatar character, really was just a shell of a being from some other place. So that conversation, that acknowledgement of I see you really was, at least with regards to that particular character, relevant to acknowledge I know who you really are. You're not what I'm seeing here, this blue-bodied alien that looks a lot like us. I see who you really are.
Yeah.
And what I love is that a lot of let's say, the issues and drama that comes on this planet comes from an inability of people to look past the shell, this vehicle, this meat vehicle that our spirits drive in, and acknowledge that within that is the being, the true being of who we are. And what would be different? What could possibly be different if we took that moment to connect past what we see into who we are? And I love that. I love that element of the movie. And the message that James Cameron, it was important for him to acknowledge that this group of people, these aliens on another planet, while to the eyes of people who felt superior, technologically more advanced, these people were savages and completely disconnected and, basically not, I think one of the characters references them as basically not having more value than a fly or a bug, and is in the way of progress, only to have the opportunity as the audience to go and see how this culture, instead of hiding behind technology, because all the technology that the humans brought there was to create a barrier between them and the planet they were on.
Yeah. It
created distance between the environment and the place. I mean, those giant robot bodies that they could put on and walk around was just a way of being in the world but not connected to it. And how does technology show up for us in that way? How does it create this perception that we're interacting with the world but we're not connected to it? We see everything to that surface of the vehicle that's driving us. And yet here's this beautiful culture that is fully integrated into nature, into each other, and to all this planet. And the idea of seeing them stems from that connection. And, to a certain extent, it kind of reminded me of the less than popular Disney Pocahontas. That whole idea of what that movie wanted to say about nature and about conquest and about seeing the land for more than what you can take from it.
Yeah.
I love that it's almost like James Cameron did a better job of getting that message across than Disney when they kind of tripped and fell over that story. And so this movie really does give me, and I'm sure everyone who watched it, an opportunity to really take a look at what is there for me to see in this. Because I'm sure many people are going to watch this movie and just walk away with what a technically amazing film this was. How the geniuses at Weta Workshop were able to put together and fashion this unbelievably vivid, three-dimensional environment for this movie to take place. And people will walk away with that, with just that element of it. But I get that there's a whole group of other people who will see more in that message. I was sitting next to you and you didn't say anything, but I felt almost like a knife had been stabbed into your heart when one of the characters from Earth acknowledges that the planet that they are from, they have killed their mother.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? Because that resonated with you in that moment.
Yeah, that was, for what I felt right then, I was like, oh my gosh, if we don't create active stance, that will be our reality. We will have killed our mother if we don't take a stand.
So true, because, this planet right now lives. The plants grow and the water flows and the tides create oxygen and move energy around the earth. I mean, the earth is alive.
Yeah. And the inhabitants thereof, if they choose, thrive beautifully just the same.
And yet, we can absolutely affect the flow of that, the life force of this earth that we're on, such that it stops functioning the way it does. And essentially kill the energy and the movement and the beautiful balance of this planet. And I believe that there is a way to balance our